Hey everybody, I'm Rousseau and I do a little work here and there. You are watching Raconteur Weekly. A little earlier in the week than usual, admittedly, but when I find something neat, I need to talk about it. And this time I'm talking about Open WarHex Modular Scenic 3D Hex Terrain Project by GarageBay9. You can find it on Thingiverse at the link in the description, or if you like doing things the hard way, it is thing number 976743. There are several different pieces that come in the zip, and these are two of them. If I get really lucky, I shouldn't have to actually make too many more, at least not by hand. This is the single hex, of course, and the module ring, but like I said, there are other files in the zip. So in addition to these, there is a double hex, a triple hex, a 7 hex circle, a 12 hex field, and 3 different depth hexes, various depths. And those depth hexes are the ones I would need to actually build. The rest of them, I should just be able to duplicate this and glue a bunch together. Fingers crossed. So what sort of features do we have here? You might notice the smaller hex on a hex. You might not have noticed at first the small bevel between them. This is a feature shared with the module ring. So the module rings are self-centering. It's a pretty nice feature, and it means you can put all sorts of things on these rings. GarageBay9 suggests trees or smoke rings or fire, things like that. But if you wanted to, and if you depended heavily upon the hex grid for facing and things like that, you could find a way to either temporarily or permanently affix one of these module rings to the bottom of your miniature's bases. So in terms of size, this is just over 1.5 inches from side to side, and something like 1.75 inches from tip to tip. If I flip it over, you will notice that the inside is hollow, and that's so they will stack on top of one another. If this is all looking familiar, it's probably because you've seen terrain just about like this before. Probably from another game, probably with the initials HS. But there are plenty of differences here. You'll notice a lack of connectors. You'll notice the design on the top is different. The overall size is also different, in terms of length and width, but also in terms of height. The module ring is also a new thing, so we can count that as a difference as well. Whether you see these differences as good things or bad things is totally up to you. But, personally, I like it. And I don't have enough of that other terrain for it to really matter, that the two aren't exactly compatible. Or really compatible at all. Whatever. So to start closing this out, I'll bring in a couple of miniatures. One is the Metal Gear Rex that I made before, which you can see just fits on top of this hex. And the other is an Orange Star tank from Advance Wars. Both are in the same scale. It's about 6mm, or 1 to 285. Scales sort of bounce around. But I think it's going to work pretty well. Granted, I'm going to have to make an unorthodox mold for this. And you know me, I'm using cheap ingredients. Cornstarch, silicone caulking, but resin all the same, so they will be resin when all is said and done. But yeah, we might see this in the research workshop soon enough, because like I said, this mold is going to be an interesting one. Not at all beginner's stuff, but interesting stuff nonetheless. Should give you something to look forward to if you're just starting this. So until next time, you've been watching Raconteur Weekly on Rousseau Works, and I am Rousseau. Out.